Hey everybody, and welcome to a very special broadcast. It's time for the Primecast Live this month. The second one ever, by the way.
Primecast 52.
Primecast 52, your only official source for all things Privateer Press. Nice. And Will Schick is gone.
He is gone.
So I'm your host, Will Hungerford, and with me is special co-host, Matthew Getz.
Matthew? Wow. You just pulling the full name out.
I'm just trying to introduce you properly.
Oh,
give you like
wow.
the most
formal.
Yes, the most formal introduction as
Matthew Getz.
the special guest co-host of the second ever Primecast Live.
True.
And Primecast episode 52.
Oh, well, I got to correct you though. Third Primecast Live. Don't forget Gen Con 2 years ago.
Wasn't it Lock and Load 2 years ago?
No,
the Gen Con was recorded live.
It was
But it was
broadcast
not
after.
broadcast live. Lock and Load last year
Was
recorded
live.
live.
Yeah.
So
right,
this is
right.
the third live one.
That was the pilot.
That was the pilot.
I'm going to count this as the second.
It was
official.
episode 0.
So if you're watching us,
And why would you be?
every week, we stream Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific. We do the weekly Rumble where staffers come in and we play games like War Machine, Hordes, Company of Iron, eventually Monster Apocalypse. Every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific is the Dev Chat where fellows like us, Oz, Pagani, we go on and talk about usually like CID or new stuff coming out related to the game. Thursdays is Get Your Paint On with Dallas Kemp, also 10 a.m. Pacific. And then we have special shows, which we do usually once a month-ish, sometimes not as much, but you know, they come and go. And Primecast Live is one of those. So what is Primecast Live if you're about to start watching us, whether you're watching this on YouTube or you're watching us live right now?
I know, I'm curious.
Our podcast is Primecast, and we've decided to move to a streaming format. Now, I believe, I'm going to confirm with John right now live on the air, does this still go out in podcast form, or is live the new way we're doing it? It will be.
It will be. Yeah.
So-
So basically, I was looking for a better service than the one we currently use because it makes it a pain in the butt. But I will be going back, putting 51 audio only, so that people can get it that way, and then this one will be as well.
So if I'm driving to work, I can listen
Right
to
now, you
Hungerford.
can get it on YouTube though.
Okay. So you are watching basically the live recording of Primecast, and there's a couple cool benefits. First, if you're watching live, twitch.tv/privateerpress, and you can ask us questions, and occasionally we will respond. So if you're listening to this later or watching on YouTube, occasionally we'll say a user's name and a question. That's us talking to live chat. But also, if you're watching live, this will get edited for the podcast later when we'll play the drums and when we do between segments. If you're watching live, though, you get to be here with us while we switch guests, and you get to be what we like to call secret time. And during secret time, we like to talk about secret things.
Oh, good. Well,
Mainly dumb things.
you're going to have to pitch to me because I haven't done Secret Time yet.
Oh yeah, it's where you look at the chat, you pick the most ridiculous question you can, and you answer whatever you want.
So Menoth John actually has a question in the chat right now.
Yeah.
It's where is Will? And I just wanted to let you know I've locked him in my cabin.
yeah,
He's not getting out.
this is Schick is out for this episode. It's the first episode he's missed in 40 years.
Yeah.
So we wish him well, and he should be back soon.
Yeah.
Let's go over what we'll be talking about today.
Good.
So we're going to go over the upcoming releases that are coming out in April. Yeah, all the April releases, which is mainly going to be the Black Fleet releases for Cricks. So you can know what's going to be in your local stores very soon. After that, we're going to get CCAT in here.
Yeah.
And I don't know what we're doing the Imran Minutia, the lore segment with CCAT. I have no idea what your topic is for the show this time.
So a little inside baseball because you're new to Imran Minutia.
Yeah.
The host never knows what the topic is. I think Doug has been hiding from me because he knew I'd be co-hosting today. So I don't even really fully know what the topic is this time.
We'll do it live.
Exactly.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
After that will be the struggle of wills. We'll get Pagani and Oz on. We're going to talk about the Crucible Guard CID wrapping up. And we're also going to talk about kind of a basic overview of Monster Apocalypse and give you some more information about what that game plays like and what to expect. So a little bit more Monster Apocalypse talk coming. After that, we'll get JR in. We're going to talk about some upcoming shows. Like Kingdom Con is right around the corner, and we're sending staff over to Kingdom Con. More information about Lock and Load and other conventions we'll be at. And then after that, I think we'll just wrap it up and talk about kind of whatever we want to talk about.
It's JR, so we can talk about literally anything.
Yeah, it'll just be you and me here at the beginning, you and me at the end, and you and I here for Secret Time.
Secret Time is going to be my favorite time.
Yep. Real fast before we get started, Falcon Punch Drunk says, is facial hair a prerequisite to work at Privateer Press?
It helps.
It helps.
Yeah.
It's cold up here, man. Pacific
is.
Northwest. I used to be clean shaven when I lived in the bayou, but I moved up here and I was like, I need to protect my tiny little chin, or lack thereof. So let's go and move to the first segment, which is going to be April releases. The way we transition from segment to segment is the drums, which typically we have to ask John to play the drums, which gets edited out. So, John, will you play the drums, please?
I
I love that. That's the
Like
best.
a Von Canto
It
concert
is.
just for us.
So, before we get into the Imran Minutia, let's start with the new releases coming up for April. If you are a Crix player, you've got a lot of good things to look forward to in April. First off, we've got the Shard Dirge Seers are coming out.
Yeah.
So, let's see if we've got concept art to pull up for those in case you missed it during the CID process. Oh, we have painted models. That's even better.
Painted models. Nice.
Wow.
Look at that one.
She is super
Just
exciting.
big arms. Just
So-
big arms.
If you hadn't seen what the Dirt Seers do, first, they're all available on War Room. So if you're using War Room, they're also on our card database, so you can go check out the rules. Great little support unit. You know, they've got guidance, which is just when guidance is good, guidance is great.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need it, sometimes you don't. In addition to that, you know, they're just capable. They're not going to be like your front line, but when they can get up there, kill somebody, battle wizard, throw out a hex bolt, like they're a cheaper investment, good support piece, and they'll get some work done. And if you're playing Slaughter Fleet, they're a great inclusion unless you're rolling like the all Trollkin package.
Well, and needle on their melee means that if there's some higher arm single wound infantry, you can get them in there to get that battle wizard off, right?
Mm-hmm. And they've got riposte.
Nice.
So somebody swings at them and misses, you just get to
Nice.
just boop.
I really like the Dirge Seers because they showcase sort of another part of the Shard Islands that we don't see very much. Like, we know about the Blighted Trollkin and the Pirates and the Satixis, but there are other people out there too, right? And apparently some of those other people just turn into Thulsa Doom-style cultists that like, perform heruspexy in the guts of people.
Yeah.
So it just kind of rounds out the Shard Islands a little more.
Shard Islands sound like a terrible place, and we talk about occasionally with new releases the life of the Imran Dirt Farmer.
Yeah, yeah.
Most recently, we were talking about Scar 3, how Joe Dirt Farmer.
Flying half a boat, crawling over the land.
Yeah, he's just like, well, Laborjack done broke, gonna have to till it by myself. Oh, it's a ghost boat. Oh, they got cannons. Betsy got turned into Shadow. Life is hell.
Yeah.
And then a piggyback runs up and just
And so,
Like-
where is a good place in the Iron Kingdoms to live?
the ocean.
The ocean. No, the ocean's even screwed up. You got Sea Kings and like Cove Dracodiles and who knows what else.
There are Cove Dracodiles?
Yeah. Saltwater Dracodiles.
All right, for those of you painting Dracodiles, which hopefully is every one of you, if someone can please post on our social media any seaborne Dracodiles you've painted up or converted.
Yeah.
If anybody's done any conversions of one coming out of water, just post it on our Facebook or our Twitter with the hashtag Cove Dracodile, because I want to see that.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone out there has done that.
Like, just picture a Dracodile with a whole shark in its mouth. Just breaching.
That sounds amazing. Somebody do that.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next release.
All right.
Misery Cages.
No, Misery Cages.
Crix got weird racks.
Yeah.
So they collect corpses. The caster can take corpses off them, turn them into focus, or turn them into a corpse token. Right now, that's not super useful. In case you're wondering if there's any Crix casters that can use the corpse tokens, there aren't. But a little bit of future proofing there. You know, this is a low point, simple support solo. Do you like extra focus? Do you like sticking dead people in cages? Misery Cage.
Dead or soon to be dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was actually thinking about Misery Cages. Which is worse? To rot away in a gibbet as like a normal dude, or to be in a magic cage that's just sucking the magic juice out of your spirit, right? Like
The second one.
the second one?
Yeah. The introduction of voodoo ruins everything.
Sure. Well, I mean, if you talk to the dev pit,
Yeah.
there's a lot of strong opinions about voodoo upstairs.
Yeah. If your choices are rot like a normal human being in a cell, or magically rot as something drains my juices,
Your juices.
no thanks. I'm out.
All right.
Move on to the next one, which is going to be Severa Blacktide. This is sort of the Satixis Gunslinger super solo.
Yeah.
She's incredibly, like, first off, three shot types. Black Penny, Ghost Shot, and then Heartseeker, which is basically signs importance on the damage roll. She has 2 shots. They're magic, mage-like pistols. Great looking model, very competent combat solo herself. But she has elite cadre Satixis Gunslingers. She gives them run and gun, which I think really like opens this unit up to be the harassment a piece they want to be. Being able to walk up, pop, splatter some gooses, bust a hole in a dude's nugget.
Splatter some gooses?
Yeah.
Okay.
Splatter some gooses, bust a hole in a dude's nugget, and then just whoop, go hang out behind the Stuckies like you're lit, right? You're good to go. So I love her.
Well, she also has chain attack vortex, right? So it's more than just that. If she nails 2 people at once, she gets this extra magic effect where she creates like a magical sea whirlpool in the air that sucks dudes together and then nails them for another hit, right?
Yeah, she's super legit. If you're playing Scourge of the Broken Coast, Severa is, I'm not going to say an auto-include because you may not be running the Styx's Gunslingers, but if you're running that package, and even if you're not, she's just super good.
And like, as far as the character goes, I really like her because she gives no Fs about anything, right? She doesn't really care about a captaincy or really about orders. She'll just show up where she wants to murder some dudes and then leave whenever she feels like it. She's basically like a cat if a cat had magic guns.
Okay.
And was drunk.
Okay, so she's a drunken cat with guns.
Yeah.
Just walking around tables, knocking beer mugs off, and somebody's like, hey! And she's like, boom!
Yep, exactly that.
And she's just gone.
All right, what else we got?
We got Axiara Wraithblade, who is probably one of the most important solos to come out in this release. She's in Black Fleet, she's in Slaughter Fleet, and she's in Scourge of the Broken Coast. She is sort of the Crixian human Patton, for lack of a better term.
Interesting.
Yeah, she's got various battle plans. She's got Tactician Living faction.
Right.
Which, if you're running, like, say, the Blood Gorger Trollkin Marauder package, and you have all these medium bases, she's invaluable. Like, being able to move through each other. But in the battle plans, you've got Sneak. You got the ability to give everybody dodge for one round, with Styxis putting that on Raiders or any of the other units you want to throw out there. She just takes the infantry in these two theme forces and pushes them up to 11. But personally, I think her most valuable ability is Tactician.
Sure. Well, I like Axiara being released because she's actually from the way back, the long, long ago. She was in the World Guide.
Was she?
Yeah, she was in the World Guide.
Okay.
She had Wraithblade's Emporium in 5 Fingers. And she... Still running. Doug from off screen.
Oh, Doug! Hey, Doug's here.
Yeah.
We'll get you on the line in a second here, Doug.
So not only has she been like the admiral of the pirate fleet, but she spent a time as like a Styxis spy on the mainland and tried to divert resources back to Crix and just a bunch of other cool stuff. But I love that her and Jusika Bloodtongue, both old World Guide characters, are coming into the fore with their new models.
Is it Jusika or is it Jusica?
I mean, who knows?
Well, no, you and Doug have the official final say on pronunciation.
He and I argue about pronunciation on certain things. I say Jusika. I don't know what Doug's going to say, but Jusika, see?
Okay.
So the two of us are already fighting.
All right, so you can say it however you want to.
Jusika? Jusika sounds like Orange Jusica, right? Like,
I like it. Let's move on to the Shard Pirates and, of course, their captain.
Sure.
So I know that Oz in particular and a lot in the dev pit was the most excited about these because he's wanted to see the living Pirates of Crix forever.
Yeah.
And I felt the same way, like being able to, I remember the old Mark II Scar theme force that let you bring pirates, pirate pirates. And so the idea of being able to run a living pirate army is awesome, in my opinion. Much like the Sea Dogs from Mercenaries, you're looking at mid-range def, low armor. These guys will just get picked up off the table, but that's not what they're there for. They are your frontline cannon fodder, and if they get there, they do a ton of damage.
Well, they got the deck sweeper, right? Just shooting language into people.
Yeah, and when you take the officer, they pick up assault.
Right.
So from downtown, they just run up here with like flame-breathing deck sweepers, right? And they're just like setting everybody on fire, doing all kinds of damage.
What part of the ship is downtown?
Oh, the part where all the parties happen, and there's like some really good shops that open.
Okay, is it like really walkable?
Oh, where the Ferris wheel is that the captain.
The Ferris wheel that the captain.
The
turns?
captain moves to make the boat go.
Okay, so
That's downtown.
that's downtown.
Yep.
The after deck, or the quarter deck, is downtown.
No, it's downtown.
Downtown.
Yep, downtown.
Not the party row underneath downtown.
No.
Okay.
No. Okay. They also all got tough, and the officer gives them feign death. So if they do fall down from making their tough roll, you can't shoot at them or cast any spells. So this is a good, cheap, effective unit. You know, you're not going to be taking out heavy warjacks or colossals with them, probably, depending on what you throw out there. I mean, they do have gang with the right Crix casters and maybe some Dark Shroud and some Parasites. You might, but mainly what you're looking to do is throw them up front, clear out light infantry with that assault off the spray, and just get them in the way as your heavy hitters move up. And with tough and feign death, they can be really annoying to take out. More importantly, looking at the models that are on screen right now, I love the look at them, especially the big dude.
Yeah, the big kind of mouthy looking guy.
Yeah, I just love that guy.
So it goes back to what I was saying earlier about the Durseers, right? I love how they sort of expand out our understanding of what people on the Shard Islands look like.
Yeah.
And really just expand options for any kind of envisioning. So if you want to have a Maori-style kind of tribal tattoo all over your Shard Pirates,
You could do that.
That would be appropriate, right?
Yeah. And the cool thing about this box, if you're picking it up at your local store, it does come with the officer in the box. So you don't need to buy a unit box and a separate blister for the command attachment. It's all one box, one kit. So you get everything you need all at one time. Let's go ahead and move on to the next release. Then in Secret Time, I see we've got some questions that have come up. We'll get to a couple questions before Secret Time starts. Actually, there's one we're going to add right now from Ironclad Future.
Okay.
Are there any living Shard-style warjacks conceptually, or are they all sort of necromantic traditional Crix jacks?
Well, they probably don't have a lot of the resources needed to build their own warjacks if they're not affiliated with the Nightmare Empire. And Crix, the necrotechs of it, are all kind of these crazy individuals that want to create their own perfect design.
Right.
And they use necrotech, so the majority of the jacks that you're going to see from the Shard Islands will be that Crixian-style necrotech jack, like bone jacks and shard jacks.
But a Shard tribe, do they live in tribes or they have towns?
It depends.
Okay, a Shard town might not have their own non-necrotech style labor jacks, or they might.
I mean, if they migrated to the Shard Islands for whatever the hell reason, then they might
Oh, they
have,
just took one with them.
Yeah,
I like that.
But otherwise, no, the ones that come up from the Shard Islands are almost always going to be those Crixian-style jacks.
So Missing Tasks on Twitch says, so Blighted Toro? I guess technically that is possible. Somebody could have shown up with a Blighted Toro, and that's awesome. I'd love to see that conversion too. Let's go ahead and move on to the next piece, which is the Blighted Ogryn Smog Belchers. These guys are sick. They've got a range 12, POW 13, AoE 3, damage type magical blast. That it's got arcing fire and it's got choking ash, which eventually stops runs and charges from living warrior models hit by the AoE. On top of that, whenever they shoot, they leave a cloud effect on themselves. So you're creating a cloud wall. You've got this great utility in the shot. It's a magical AoE, which is fantastic. And they themselves, they're 13, 15 with 5 boxes and tough, and they're not that expensive. A minion is 9 points and a max unit is 15 points. If you're running Slaughter Fleet, pick up a unit of these. Yeah. Absolutely. They're invaluable range support, and they also can create a cloud wall behind some of the things you might want to slowly move up the field. Like if you're taking the Dirge Seers and you want to protect them, having a line spaced out of 5 small belchers in front, creating the cloud effects, and then coming up behind, really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And the last April release, before we move on to the next segment and start talking about new stuff and cool stuff, is the Blighted Trollkin Marauders. So we've had Blood Gorgers for quite some time, and now we've seen the second Blighted Trollkin unit come out, which is the Marauders. They are basically, I don't want to say elite shock troops because they're 1 wound each at 12-16 with tough, but they are shock troops, right? You throw them up there, they've got Ashen Veil, they've got the chain weapon that does crit fire, and they've got the ranged attack as well. I could see, people I've seen playing them usually run like a line of Marauders up front with the Blood Gorgers coming up from behind and just smashing into enemy lines. Yeah. And looking at the models, man, those things look awesome. I don't want to face that.
Yeah, well, the great thing about those fire brazers that they've got on chains is those things are kept lit with whale oil and rendered human fat, right? Like,
I did not know that.
Yeah, they don't waste, right? And
whale oil and rendered human fat.
Yeah. So that's how they're lighting people and buildings on fire. And they have like this penchant for eating burned meat. Like, Blood Gorgers are all about eating living meat.
Right.
These guys want nothing more than just that blackened, like burn ends at a barbecue or something.
Yeah.
Except it used to be a guy's arm.
They like the crispy part of the brisket.
Yeah, exactly.
So are there fat farmers?
For the troll?
For the Marauders.
No, they probably have like humans that they force to fat farm for them. Or you go into the meat market in Blackwater and just like, give me 5 barrels of fat, bro.
But you said it's human fat, right?
Yeah.
Do they sell human fat in Blackwater?
Oh, yeah, they do.
Oh, all right. Never go to Blackwater if you're a Joe Dart farmer in Western Emerald. Again, terrible place to be.
Yeah.
Go to the ocean. Just walk into the ocean and keep walking. The best you can have. So that's all the new releases coming out for April. A lot of really cool stuff if you're a Crix player, especially if you're into the living theme forces. Both Satixis, Scourge of the Broken Coast, and Slaughter Fleet got a ton of new things. So go check it out. You should see it in your stores basically throughout April. I believe there's going to be 2 waves coming out this month. So before we play the drums, John, do you know what those 2 release wave dates were, or do we not have that information just yet?
It's the 20th and the 27th.
20th and 27th of April, you'll see those releases hitting your stores.
All right, awesome.
John, hit the drums.
Drum, 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 drum.
I feel like
Drum. No, you got to mix it up.
Drum, Doug.
Everybody, welcome to Secret Time. This is where we change out a guest. This will be editing this part out. This won't be on the actual podcast.
All right. So what do you got for me?
I'm just looking at what people were talking about.
I mean, Minky Blubber or Mikey Blubber. I like that.
The Bradigus Pittman, the Ogren Fight Clubber. All right.
If there's Blighted Trollkin, will we see Blighted Full Blood or Dire Trolls?
Oh, wait, there's a really good question from Vandebees. Can Trollkin render fat from themselves and then regenerate?
Well, but they have to eat something to regenerate.
Oh, right? God, does the fat regenerate?
Yeah.
Oh, does the fat regenerate into a little, like, wobbly whelp? He's like, burger.
An adipose whelp, a little fat whelp that's all squidgy. It doesn't have any bones. It's just, like, rolling around.
Yeah, but I mean, the Trollkin aren't going to allow themselves to be harvested for food for other Trollkin.
But if a Trollkin was like in a survival situation,
sure.
Could there be some sort of zero-sum engine?
You gotta flick that forward.
Oh, let's see. Oh, okay. Am I mic'd?
Are we mic'd?
Am I live? All right.
Could I get a perpetual eating machine by feeding a troll its own fat?
I don't think that works in the long run, but it probably would work for a little while. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it.
John, are levels good? Is that what you were asking me about earlier with my mic off?
You had kind of eaten it.
All right. I ate my mic.
Good.
Anthony Martinez wants to know, will there be a Battle of Borsgate write-up? There is something coming up regarding the Battle of Borsgate.
Oh, yeah.
So
It's in the hopper, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's been written for a while.
I know, that's what I mean.
A slot for
well, Holden's not out.
Things.
Hollow Holden's not out yet, and we were kind of thinking about tying it to the release of Hollow Holden.
Right.
So if you want to see the epilogue of Battle of Borsgate, here's some Secret Time info for you.
Yeah.
The Battle of Borsgate epilogue, written by Mr. Matt Getz, is coming.
Yeah.
So
and it's good.
And it's good, and you'll get to find out exactly how fictionally what happened, how Holden got betrayed and taken away and turned into a Hollow Man. Poor Holden.
Sad day for Holden.
John, you ready to start the Imran Marusha? All right. And we're back with Mr. Doug Seacat and Matt Getz.
Indeed.
Hey, it's both of us on the live.
We're both here.
stream.
This is
Finally.
great. What an occasion.
So this is a Imran Minutia, right?
Yeah.
And I've never done one of these with you, Seacat, before.
Sure.
So walk me through this.
Your mic is poking into your throat.
Oh, is it? I'll adjust.
So
secret time.
it's kind of an excuse just to talk about whatever in the setting that we decide to talk about.
Yeah.
And one of the things that Getz and I were throwing around was the notion that we should talk a little bit about what it takes to be trained as a warcaster, but then sort of decided that that's a pretty big topic, so we'll reserve that for our own stream, which we've been lobbying for.
Oh.
Which I don't know if we've succeeded yet.
I believe it was going to be called Lore Machine.
Lore Machine, yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
And but
That's brandable.
But one of the things that I was thinking about as I was looking at the Zero casters, our new 15th anniversary casters that are coming out, is that none of them really fit sort of the standard routine for how casters of that faction are normally trained up.
Supposed to be trained.
Right. And so it's, I thought maybe we talk a little bit about them. I think we've got a lot of potential for maybe some like early 80s style sitcom with My Lich Dad with Asphyxius and Denegra, where because you get like this 1600-year dead lich that has thrown himself into a volcano, now suddenly has to raise like a 5-year-old child.
Dude, I love this idea. I love the idea of Asphyxius turning to Denegra and being like, "What do you mean you want a pony?"
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I mean, that would be tough. Like, I think that was
Who's
probably
using all the shampoo?
at the time, that was probably the biggest challenge Asphyxius has ever faced. And I think they both learned a lot during those years.
That was
When
the
is
biggest challenge.
Asphyxius ever going to look at the shampoo bottle?
Well, I mean, he likes to wistfully think back on the druid tresses he used to have. He just likes to have it around.
He used to have hair, back in the day. I don't think he remembers what it was like. But
So if we had two 80s shows we could make.
Yeah, sure.
One is a live action sitcom of what you just described.
My Lich Dad.
And the other one is a cartoon show of Scar and the Shard Pirates going on adventures.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which
Pirates of Blackwater?
yes. Which would you rather invest in? The live action family comedy or the Scar cartoon?
I think you want both. I mean, if you're going to have the full Crixian network franchise,
I would watch this. I would watch this after school. I would come home and I would
absolutely.
watch both of them.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be one of those kind of guilty pleasures where you're kind of watching Asphyxius and Denegra get up to their shenanigans, and it could run for quite a few years because, you'd see Denegra kind of entering into her teen years, becoming rambunctious. And
so Doug, he taught her all of the war witch methods and techniques, right?
Well, I mean, that's one of the interesting things I think about Denegra being trained by Asphyxius is we don't have any notion of, we've never discussed like a war witch mentor of Denegra. Right. So I have to presume that Asphyxius took that on himself. Sure. So he's like, Asphyxius who's, he's been dead 1,600 years, can't even remember what it's like to have a beating heart, but he's having to teach Denegra what the heart of men is like. Yeah. And how to seduce them.
I was about to say, because she's got like dark seduction.
Right.
Oh man, those conversations must be horrifying.
Right, yeah.
Be more seductive.
I think they like fruit.
But again, it's
Have you considered offering them an orange?
But it's an early 80s sitcom, so like, we kind of avoid some of the more, awkward and sort of nefarious aspects of that whole situation, and we focus on just the lighthearted hilarity. And then later, when you grow up and you watch My Lich Dad again, you start to think about what it really meant to have Asphyxius raising Denegra, which I don't think is a good thing.
What about if Denegra gets really mad at him and like stomps up to her room or something, like slams the door? The "you're not my real dad" moment.
Oh yeah,
right?
absolutely.
It's gotta happen.
Oh, it's gotta happen.
Probably a season finale.
And their pet, the family pet, has to be a tiny nightmare.
Oh, sure.
It's just a little slayer that's about
a little
this big.
slayer. Yeah. Well, yeah, because it helps out like with homework and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
she has a plushie Death Ripper.
Sure.
Dude, what would her teenage diary have been like?
Oh man,
written on flesh.
Well, okay, and so here's the other thing.
Like the Necronomicon Ex Mortis, but it's talking about today he made me learn how to like.
Well, and that's the thing.
What even are witch barbs?
Right. Well, and you do get that little bit of that sort of Harry Potter thing where.
Did she live under the stairs? Like, what are you talking about?
No, I'm talking about her training because she's got to learn, how to deal with corpses and how to animate the dead, and so you could have like your animation 101 beginners class or whatever.
Sure. We could have a whole episode that's her first time she learned to cast venom, but she can't control it. Sure. So she's just venoming holes throughout the house.
Yeah, absolutely. Just, no, I think it's got a lot of life to it. But we do have the other new casters. But
well, I just wanted to bring up in the Twitch stream, Falcon Punch Drunk just said,
yes.
Get sounds like Monarch from Venture Brothers.
Yeah.
You might not remember this or not be privy, but
I don't remember much.
Whenever Doug and I are talking about
Asphyxius
and his plots and everything, I don't know where it started, but
it's the Monarch.
I perform his dialogue like the Monarch because it feels appropriate.
It works really
well.
well.
Not what he sounds like, but that's our Asphyxius.
I think it works.
If there's anybody who can canonically state what people sound like and pronounce, or the pronunciations of their names, it's the two of you.
Sure.
So whatever voices you come up with.
Well, no, I mean, in reality, he probably sounds like Christopher Lee in Sleepy Hollow, like, "It is now you, Ichabod Crane, who's to be judged."
Sure.
But I prefer the Monarch voice when I'm reading his dialogue.
Yeah, I think it works. I mean, and I do leave the voices to Getz. Getz has the voice magic. But yeah, like looking at the other Zero casters, like I think Sorsh is the one who's probably the closest to sort of the traditional Khador training method. But then you start to think about the details, and that like. You have that whole scene which opens her model entry for Sorsha 1 where, her dad, leaves to go to the battlefront and Sorsha decides to become a soldier. And then, of course, her dad gets brutally murdered by the butcher and hacked down. And then, she winds up serving under a great prince of Umbri who then she has a romantic relationship with. Like, to me, that one is more of sort of like a Disney movie. Like, that's like you can imagine the
romantic relationship with her mentor, maybe not quite Disney.
No, but she's 23 by then. Like,
okay. How old's he?
40-ish.
40-ish.
I mean, it's a little bit of a.
There's an age gap.
An age gap, sure.
I mean, but so is. Never mind.
Wow.
There's something that I think actually people are kind of interested in, and I don't know how much detail you can go into, but the Zero casters.
Yeah.
Where are they snapshot in their history? Like, so you just went through Sorsha's history, right?
Right.
Where would this Sorsha be?
So, one of the notions with these guys, because we wanted them to be effective on the battlefield, but also kind of somewhat new to their powers. They're kind of intended to be in that journeyman slot. And how it worked with Sorsha is she didn't detect her Warcaster ability until a little bit later, till like she was like 23. So she entered the Winter Guard when she was 15, and she was a sergeant by the time she was 17. I was just looking at her service record, and so she was a legitimate badass right from the start.
Right.
And so was serving as a Winter Guard, and she was an aide to another Warcaster who was then tragically murdered right in front of her in battle. And so Sorsha, in the midst of this battle anger, froze everybody around her, activated one of her mentors, or one of the officers that she was with, their warjack, and basically her Warcaster talent manifested then. And so then after that, she starts her training. And so the idea with the Zerocasters is they've at least been training enough so that they have the basics down. They know how to use their powers, but they are all a little different.
Like Severius?
Severius is the most atypical,
I was going to say, what if you had a range? We know that Severius won. When we're first introduced to Severius, he's 70 or 80, right?
I think he's in his 80s.
He's in his, So Severius 0.
Yeah.
What age would you?
We haven't pinned it down, but my hunch is it's probably supposed to be, because of his rank, it's got to be in his 30s. And I was kind of joking that, like, I think, even going back that far, he's just such a powerful figure that you kind of have to bring him back a little bit for game balance, just so that it fits. Like, you don't want to have a, I don't know, Focus 7, a solo or something like that.
And he's still quite powerful.
And he's still quite powerful. But yeah, the idea is, since I think he's a Scrutator, Potentate, those are both substantial ranks. And one of the interesting things about Severius is, since he's so old, it's kind of like he was there at the very beginning of the Protectorate Warcaster efforts. And so all the things that they figured out about what works and what doesn't to train a Warcaster, like Severius was there for and probably innovated, and did not receive the benefits of himself.
Was he conflicted in that time? Was he like, yeah, but this machine is so unholy?
Yeah, well, I think it has to be. Yeah, like, I think he was probably one of the earlier Warcasters for the Protectorate, at least one that they recognized and kind of knew what was going on. And yeah, I think he had to wonder, like, is this an unholy power? Is this? He had to come to grips with that through praying. And I think it would help a lot, if you're in that kind of a crisis of faith and you're trying to figure out, does this power work? Is this something I can use for Menoth's benefit? Torturing other people is like a good way to kind of get through that.
Sure.
And
so he's just he's like self-reflecting while he's cutting some guy's toes off.
Well, sure. And you're getting answers out of them. You're like, clearly I am not a heretic like this guy that I'm working on.
He's got pliers in some guy's mouth. Am I a bad guy?
Am I the bad guy? I don't think I'm the bad guy.
Hey, Larry, am I a bad guy?
Right. Yeah. I mean, being a Scrutator is ugly, nasty work, but it's a responsibility. Sure. It's something that they don't enjoy, but they have to do, because who else is going to do that if not them?
Larry was his exemplar friend. I don't know if I made that clear.
See. Okay. What did Larry do? Like, what did he do to deserve?
Well, no. Larry's just guarding while Severius does his work.
I see. Oh, he's not torturing Larry.
No.
Okay,
no,
that's good. That's good.
We're running a little bit late on time for this segment. Was there any other Zerocasters you want to bring anything up?
Well, Kane is another one who, again, breaks all the molds. Like, Kane is one of my favorite characters, and I think that Kane, it was funny looking back in his background, like, we know, like, from my novel, that Magnus, takes credit for being for mentoring Kane a little bit when he was going through his journeyman training. But looking at the dates, it's like he didn't get much time before Kane got, like, arrested in Baines Market for murder. So I think, like, there was like 1 week when Magnus is kind of breaking it down for Kane. He was already in Gun Mage Academy, and he gets a few days to kind of give him the basics. Then Kane goes to Baines Market, murders somebody, and basically totally exploits.
Just murder. He hangs him from a clock tower.
Sure. I mean, there were some good reasons for it, though.
What?
Yeah, he strung him up from a clock tower like a comic book villain.
He was a gangster,
like
though.
Darkman.
Oh, he was a bad guy?
He was a bad guy.
Oh, you can do whatever you want to bad guys.
Especially ones that are called, like, Skullface or something.
Right. But I mean, I think the important thing is we've kind of shown that with Warcasters in the military, they're given a lot of leeway. Like, you're allowed to kind of break the rules, right? Yeah. And
you can hang a bro from the clock tower.
But I think most Warcasters try not to abuse that. They're like, occasionally, maybe, like, you go on vacation a few days early or whatever. But, like, Kane pushed pushed it to the limit right away. He's like, you know what? I'm not going to follow any of your rules, but you need me as a warcaster. What are you going to do?
Sure.
And so like the only thing they could do is like, I guess we're bumping you down to lieutenant.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I guess you're still working for us. Oh, now you're working for the CRS.
Yeah.
So now you're a spy.
So he would just be the sullen rebel of the journeyman.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think the background stories on all of our zero level warcasters are great, and each one of them could support, you know, like a whole novel series, 80s sitcom, Disney's cartoon, you know, whatever.
Just picture a Breakfast Club with Kane in the role of Judge Nelson.
Sure, you get them all in one room. Yeah, that'd be good.
Wow. Yeah. No, we've got some money to make here.
Severus is the old student who's like going back to community college or whatever.
Man. Oh yeah.
So,
Hello.
but
youth.
anyway, I think that we've gone a little long, but there we go.
Thanks for having us on, Doug.
Yeah.
And thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be coming out with the next segment here in a second with the struggle of wills. John, play the drums, please.
Drum. Drum.
the laziest drum yet.
Drum.
Yeah. Welcome to Secret
Drumming
Time.
drum.
Thanks,
Drum
Doug.
time.
Yeah.
That was good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm hoping somebody actually like starts drawing like what we were the sitcom stuff that we were talking about. That'd be really cool.
That would be great.
Welcome to Secret Time, everybody. We're setting up for the struggle of wills.
You gotta decide, is it Punky Brewster or is it My Two Dads? Both. Because My Two Dads would need another character.
Hello.
Hey.
Is Mike on?
Apparently this is secret time, but no secrets are being revealed.
Secrets.
I saw somebody asking about if there would be a Monpox story.
That's an answer for you to make.
Yeah, well, the answer is there will be something. I can't tell you what, but there will be a thing. Does that sound about fair?
A thing?
Correct? A thing. There will be a thing.
I would say that there are many things in Monpok.
There are
One of
many.
which could be a story.
That's true.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let us know when the levels are good, John.
Oh man, Will's
Yeah.
going to the mat? Guys,
To the mat?
look at that on the Twitch. Missing Task says, if Schick is out, is this segment just Will's going to the mat?
Oh, geez.
Oh man.
No.
Print it.
Ship it.
All right.
Beautiful.
All right. You good, Oz?
Yeah, I think so. John says my mic is working.
And we are back with the struggle of wills. And it's going to seem a little strange that you see a will, a Matt, a will, but there's a hidden will as well.
Yeah, the podcast people won't know a difference.
They won't know a difference at all.
Yeah.
If you're watching this live, though, it's a little bit odd. We're joined by Will Pagani.
Hello.
Lead CID developer, and Oz William Schoonover.
The ghost of Oz William Schoonover.
Disembodied voice.
Oh, yes. Development manager here at Privateer Press.
He's actually coming from inside your mind.
Oh.
I could have done this from my desk upstairs.
You could have.
So we're going
But
to talk
here
about
we
a couple
are.
things.
They don't know you are.
We're going to talk about the Crucible Guard CID, and we're going to
Yeah.
talk a little bit about Monpok. So Crucible Guard CID, we're in our final week right now.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit of how things are going and what's happening during this last week.
Sure. I mean, things are wrapping up really well. We've had the past 2 weeks have been very active in tailoring in a few models that we sort of saw as outliers. Some were too powerful, some were not powerful enough. The Rocketman, for example, picked up a whole set of new orders and stuff. We've still been tweaking around with Baldwin a little bit. Baldwin Gearhart, I guess this is Gearhart. This is
General Marshal Baldwin Gear.
I know, I always call him Baldwin,
Mr.
but he's actually
Clog.
Gearhart. So we've been tweaking around with that a little bit.
Marshal John.
And personally, I'm very excited about where we've ended up. I think we are pretty much good to go. So we've got one last little week of testing here. We've been getting some battle reports and stuff coming in on that. And that's been very exciting. A lot of people seem to agree with my assessment here that we're in a good spot. And if we're not in a good spot for something that you think, give us some feedback. As we learned with the Paladin way back in the day.
Whenever you say
everything
anything's
is
gonna-
great.
Yeah, never say that.
So if you don't like it,
You're gonna end
come
the
tell
world.
me.
And it's not too late to join the CID process.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Join us at cid.privateerpress.com where you can sign up right now, get involved, start playing games, see the new rules, test them out,
Interact with Will.
Hello.
interact with
Or
all
Will.
the dev team, or Will. You can interact with Will, or Jason.
And we also added some non-Crucible Guard models to the CID.
Yeah, just a little something.
And we announced that CID, that subset CID, is lasting 1 week longer than the Crucible Guard CID.
Of course,
Yes.
Oz is talking about the zero
Yeah.
casters that we were just talking about on the lore segment, right? So we introduced these 4 new journeymen, all 0 level versions of well-known original Prime casters to celebrate the 15th anniversary of War Machine. The CID has been very active thus far.
That is a way to describe it, yes.
We've had a lot of people in it. So let's just go. What is your hot take on this initial launch of these Journeyman casters?
Well, it certainly got people excited. It's been pretty crazy in the CID forums. We've had a ton of new users coming in, which does mean we also have a couple people that don't really understand how the process works. So that has been a little hectic, but we've been sort of training those people on how to give proper feedback and things like that. In general, the casters are very powerful, and I think we knew that going into this. Like that didn't surprise us at all. But I think there's also been a fairly reasonably large overreaction to them, and as people are starting to get games with them, they're starting to realize in their feedback, like, this thing's really good. Like Severius Zero, for example, is very, very good. He has Eye of Menoth, but it's not like breaking any battle reports yet, right? Like it, and I mean there are some feedback showing that maybe Severius is too durable. So, for example, we're going to be having an update come out shortly that removes Oracular Vision from Severius. So, we are definitely listening to the feedback, and I think this giant knee-jerk reaction of these things are totally broken and break the entire game is not correct, and I think people are starting to see that in CID. So,
and with us adding another week to it, if you're participating right now, you've got this week left for Crucible Guard. So you can definitely get the last-minute Crucible Guard battle reports in. You'll have some extra time to work on the Journeyman.
Yeah, so Crucible Guard will end next Friday on, I believe, the 13th. And then on the 20th is when the Journeyman CID will wrap up. It has been pointed out that there is currently no way to fill out the feedback form for the Journeyman Warcasters. That is true. And it's unfortunately because of how the technology works with the feedback form. We simply can't add any more models to it. But at the end of next week, we will have a new feedback form up for just the Journeyman Warcasters. You'll be able to give all your beautiful feedback then in a private and secluded way. So you don't have to get...
That went to a weird place.
You make it sound so...
So sensual?
Yeah, I was going to say sexual.
That doesn't even make sense.
Huh?
That's not even what that word means.
I know.
You want it to be like moist?
Are you just choosing every word that I hate right now?
Yes. Welcome to the Struggle of Wills.
So I
This is
got
the
a
struggle,
question for
guys.
all the Wills.
Okay.
The only non-Will in the room other than John. What's your favorite change for Crucible Guard that came out of CID? Like, each of you have to have your own personal favorite, right? Like
Lucas. It's all Lucas.
Lucas and
So,
Moran?
so Oz is a big fan of the new juicer mechanic, and I like that one a lot as well.
I like the concept of him, but I thought the first version of it was a little predictable.
Sure.
Because you would be like, I do this, and then I do this, and then I maybe I do this now, or maybe I wait another round, that kind of stuff. And now it's a much more dynamic, dangerous thing that he's doing, and I like that. Like
kind of like the old Striker 2, almost. Where
yeah, a little bit like Baldur 2 and those kind of things.
Yeah.
And I remember going into the CID, my personal complaint of Lucas was that his juicing mechanic was powerful, but it wasn't super interesting. So I'm glad that we were able to really take community feedback and mold that into a really interesting and still very powerful drug use mechanic.
Drug use mechanic.
My favorite is actually where the lights ended up at.
Right.
I feel like the lights really came to a really interesting place, and like adding oil to the spray. I know he's doing that, but I'll get to it in a second. Like the oil on the spray, and then the arc node and being able to arc and melee opens up just a ton of possibilities.
Like, I love the Vanguard, right? I always have. I like the fact that it has a guisarme instead of the standard halberd.
We like to pronounce that Guisarm.
Guisarme.
Yeah.
But I like its aesthetic a lot. I like its story. And it plays really well on the table. So seeing the lights kind of being expanded out with all these new options, I thought was great.
yeah.
I really like where the Rocketmen ended up.
Yeah.
I mean, from a power level perspective, I really liked where the Rocketmen were, and I was in the minority in CID. But the new orders that they've picked up and stuff, I think making you choose between moving really quickly and having reposition or flying a little more carefully and getting defense and immune to blast damage, I think is a really great spot for them to be, and it really shows sort of the modularity of the unit and the Crucible Guard in general.
Can I share a secret with you?
Absolutely.
It's not secret time.
It's not secret time.
Well, it's not secret time.
Not
but
secret
it's
time,
fine.
yeah.
Okay.
I love the Rocketmen so much that I've had a lot of fun adapting them to the IKRPG. Looking at the different versions that you guys have done. I'm not going to say in what format that'll be released, but there will be the opportunity to play a Crucible Guard Rocketman in the IKRPG. And that's awesome.
Well,
That's
we
amazing.
just
That's awesome.
released Northkin content.
We did just
on
release
the
the Northkin
Insider like
content,
yesterday,
yeah.
right?
yeah.
Oh man, as a Rocketman PC,
Dude, you should see
I
what
would
they
die
do.
session 1 immediately.
You
like,
probably
what do you
would.
do?
Woo!
To the moon.
Fly into the building.
Like you just
Well, I mean, if you did
you
that,
negotiate with the merchant. No, I fly to the moon.
you would die because you only have so much fuel.
Also, which moon? There are 3.
Calder. Cirrus.
Cirrus
Is not a moon; it's a planet.
She's a moon planet. A moon planet.
What is the difference between a moon and a planet?
We're going to talk about Monpok.
Yeah.
All right.
Monpok.
So everybody, we're going to talk about Monster Apocalypse a little bit. What we're going to do is we want to kind of talk about, we got a lot of information coming up, like, more spoilers on specific models and stuff like that later on. But what we want to talk about is a general overview of the game for when you're getting into it when it releases. Sort of what you should expect that you're going to want to pick up, the types of units and buildings you would want, how many monsters you can expect, and just what does the game play like, and what are some of the synergies and basic stats you'll expect to see. What is Monster Apocalypse? A lot of this was covered on the website and the FAQ, but we want to go just a little bit deeper into it. So if you start playing Monpok, the place you're going to want to start is one of the starter boxes, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, there are 2.
Yep. There's going to be 2 starter boxes, and you can expect to see a lot of products coming out. That's going to get you a monster and some units. And basically, when you build a Monster Apocalypse army, it is separated into your monsters, your buildings, and your units.
And the buildings are called your city.
Yeah, they're
which
your
is
city.
still
Yeah.
the same term from the original.
So how many units do you get at 1 and 2 monsters?
So 1 monster gets 15 units, 2 monsters gets 20, and 3 monsters gets 25. 3 monster games are pretty crazy.
They are pretty crazy. Now, we're kind of saying that, like, in the new version of Monpok, we've been mainly testing it at the 2 monster game. It's playable at all, but we really feel like the game shines at the 2 monster level. That is going to be our standard way to play it. There's going to be organized play, a lot of it for Monpok, and like the official tournaments and so on will all be 2 monster standard. But you can start playing with 1 monster, and if you do, it's going to feel very similar to kind of old Monpok, right?
And you're going to have to,
Yeah, and you're going to have to in the beginning.
because the second monsters don't come out for a little bit.
So let's talk just for anybody who doesn't know what Monster Apocalypse is. Why don't you go through a quick rundown of what a game of Monster Apocalypse feels like, what the main goal is, and sort of how you play.
So there's 2 major portions to any game of Monster Apocalypse, and it's sort of split into 2 different things. So there's one which is the monster turn, where your monster's going to be doing stuff like picking up and throwing the opposing monster, smashing buildings, crushing a whole bunch of opposing units, things like that. And then there's the other half of the game, which is the unit turn. And the unit turn is about units moving up the board, capturing power zones, capturing buildings, controlling strategic assets around the map and around the table and stuff. So when you play a game of Monster Apocalypse, it's very important to focus on both of these aspects. And the units will then, the unit turn is important because that is how you power up your monster. So your monster gets power dice by your units controlling buildings in these different strategic zones. They can also get power dice, of course, by rampaging through opposing stuff, buildings, models, all that kind of stuff. So whenever you destroy something, you'll get these power dice that are very important. And then using those power dice, you can do power attacks with your monster. So things like throwing your opposing monster, pushing over buildings on other people, picking up a G-tank and throwing it at another G-tank. Things like that are all different power attacks that exist in the
Grabbing a helicopter and spiking it on a G-tank.
Yeah. So all sorts of these things. And the main resource of the game is action dice, which is very similar to the original game. They're used to do all sorts of different things. I don't know how in detail we want to get here. I'll let you handle action dice.
So if you remember the original first Monpok, you had action dice that you spent to move the dice from your unit pool to your monster pool. You can move any number of them as you want to. And then at the start of every turn, you basically pick, am I going to take a monster activation or a unit activation? And you have to have dice in the appropriate pool to do so. So if you've spent all your unit dice taking their activations over the monster pool, then obviously you can only take a monster activation. And sometimes you might take a monster activation where you only spend like 2 or 3 of your action dice, and then you leave it split, so the next turn you've got a choice to make.
Yeah, part of the fun, excuse me, part of the fun of the resource game in Monpok is figuring out where your dice go and where you need them to be in the future, how many you should spend right now, because making attacks cost you action dice as well.
Yeah.
So if you're like, I move these 3 G-tanks and I attack with this one, and I maybe want to attack with this one, but I might want to save that die in my unit pool for later, those kind of things are the real important decisions you have to make.
We're going to give a quick kind of overview of what you can expect to see when you look at a stat card or for one of the units of the monsters. Most cards will tell you how far they move.
Well, first of all, every single miniature in the game has defense, and that's the only stat that everything has.
Yes.
So units, buildings, and monsters all have a defense stat, but buildings don't move around.
Yeah, buildings don't move around.
So they don't have the speed.
No, they don't have a speed. But your monsters and your units, you're going to see a speed. Defense, which is basically how hard they hit. Health on monsters, and almost every unit out there is just takes a hit and dies.
Every unit out
Well,
there.
monsters
has
have
one hit
multiple health, units don't.
Yeah. Then you've got, whenever you make, there's basically 3 types of main attacks in the game. You can punch something, which is called a brawl attack. You can shoot something, which is called a blast attack. And then the monsters can do power attacks, which are throwing another monster through a building, rampaging through skyscrapers, grabbing a helicopter and spiking an OG tank. These stats let you know how many of the action dice you can roll whenever you make that attack, and then how many bonus boost die you get, which are a different die that has more hits on it than the normal action die do. There's also red die, which are power die. And power die have the most hits. Only monsters can use power die, and those are the ones that you were mentioning earlier that you generate by your units controlling the board, by smashing things up, by doing damage. So the game is, you're trying to like gain as much of these power die as you can, because really that's how you let your monster work at peak efficiency. And you're gonna have to do that with your monster making smart decisions and with the units controlling the board. But the way you win the game is you kill the enemy monsters. This is a game about smashing the enemy monsters in the ground and taking control of the city. When you build a list, those of you who remember old Monpok, things are different now.
They are.
So you're going to pick 2 monsters within the same agenda. And right now the 2 agendas coming out are protectors and destroyers.
So good guys and bad guys.
Good guys and bad guys. There are 3 factions for each of these, and you can freely mix and match. So say that you think Pterosaurs and Guard look cool, and you want to play Defender X and Terracon. You can absolutely do that.
We do actually have a question in chat right quick that is, can I take 2 Defender X's? No, you cannot. Each monster is unique, and you can only have 1 of each one on the table at a time.
Yep, they only built 1 Defender X. They only built 1
Sky Sentinel.
Sky Sentinel.
Sky Sentinel.
We
Yeah.
said that on
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
if that was your pause. Can I say Sky Sentinel?
Yeah.
Okay, good. That is exactly what my
Yes.
But,
For
but
units,
you
though-
could take 20 G tanks.
For units, that's not true. Yeah, units, there's no limit. And units, you can freely mix throughout the entire agenda, even if you don't have a corresponding monster. So, protectors. It's Shadow Sun Syndicate, it's Guard, and it's Pterosaurs. So say that your 2 monsters you choose are Pterosaur, or Terracon and Defender X. But you could take nothing but Shadow Sun Shinobis if you felt like it. You could take nothing but the ninjas if that's what you wanted to play. However, there's a reason to take certain monsters with certain units. That's one of the things we want to talk about today was synergies. You want to bring up a little bit about the basic ideas behind synergies?
Sure. So the monsters will have abilities, of course, that affect their units. If you played the original Monpok, it'll be either the blue or red symbols, which certainly do not exist anymore.
Yeah, everything's stat cards with
Yes.
text on it now.
Yes, so there's no more color coding issues for you colorblind people out there. Cheers. But there will be certain abilities that will only affect faction models, and then there will be other abilities that will affect
The entire
agenda models.
Yeah.
So that is sort of the difference between the 2 there. There's also no longer a penalty for bringing models outside of your faction.
Yeah.
So in the original Monpok, you had to pay additional action dice to spawn units that were not from your faction. That does not exist anymore.
Yeah, but the only penalty would be not getting that synergy you mentioned. So, for example, imagine there was a monster that said all faction units gain 1 additional boost die when they make a ranged attack, and another ability that said all agenda models gain +1 range when they make a blast attack. That means both of those abilities would apply to units in their own faction, and then only one would apply to units from other factions within the same agenda. So when you build your army, you get to look at these synergies and really make decisions on what kind of list am I trying to build? Do I want to build a defensive, maybe range list? Do I want to really play like a highly mobile list that gets up on command points? Do I want to play something a little bit more controlling? And your monsters and your unit choices really play into that. The other part that plays into that is your city.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Naz, do you want to mention some of the kind of benefits you get from the
Yeah,
buildings
so
you would take and what you could do there?
In the starter, you're going to get 6 apartment buildings. And the apartment buildings are the basic thing. They're
Yeah.
there to be a city. They don't give you any real benefits besides the core benefits of when you're securing buildings. So when 3 units are holding onto a building, you can get a power die out of it.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be building packs that are other things, like the skyscraper and the downtown high rise and the power plant and those kind of things. And all those buildings, they generally have 1 or 2 rules. And like if you get the industrial site or whichever name the final name is on it, I can't remember.
Pretty sure it's industrial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Industrial
It-
complex.
Industrial complex.
It can speed up all of your stuff.
Yeah,
So if you're
it-
securing it, you get +1 speed to every model in your army.
Yep.
So that can make your monsters faster, that can make your units faster. And if you're not holding it, if you don't have 3 guys touching it unit-wise, you don't get that ability anymore. So it's an important aspect of controlling elements of the board and spaces. And
And before it comes up, that doesn't stack. So if you were controlling
Yeah.
3 of them, and you could bring 3, you can bring up to 4 of any given building, except for the apartment buildings, you can bring any unlimited amount. They don't stack with one another. So you wouldn't get +4 speed for having 4 industrial complexes under your control.
And so your opponent is going to try and take out your power base if you are getting a bunch of abilities from all your buildings that is really making your army better.
Yeah.
And so that's a thing you have to guard and protect and be careful about. And then sometimes you just might want to walk over and punch that building yourself because you need a couple power die.
Yep, because every time you destroy a building for any reason, you get 2 power die. And that means, like, say you throw an enemy monster into 2 buildings, you hit them both at the same time, you would get 4 power die back.
And please note that is a change from the original Monster Apocalypse. Previously, you would only get 1 for throwing a monster into a building, and if you destroyed it with a Brawl or Blast attack, you would get its full power level. One of the simplifications that we've made is just you always get 2.
Also, always remember when we talk about stuff that's not released, it is things
always
that are still in
subject to
playtest, things that could be adjusted. That's why Hungerford said, imagine if there was a monster with these 2 abilities,
Yes.
because there might be one when we publish things, and there might not be because of playtest.
Yep.
One of the other things I think that's really important that we can tease is for anybody out there who's a longtime Monpok fan, there are some things like Pagani just mentioned that are things that were intended to speed up the game.
And I was going to say, that's what I was going to actually mention next. Why don't each of us come up with a simple kind of core rule, even though it was basically not changing?
Don't steal mine.
Well, then you go
Why don't
first.
you go
Okay.
first? Yeah.
Movement doesn't cost action dice.
Yes.
One of the really, really like complicated planning parts of original Monpok is you would say, I need to move these 4 G tanks, and I want to attack with these 2 G tanks.
Because originally moving cost one
Yes.
one of your
And
action
so
die going from one pool to
you
the
had
next.
10 dice in your pool, and you needed to move 6 guys and attack with 2 guys and do other things. So we realized early on we could just make movement free across the board, and it would speed up a lot of decision making.
Yep.
And it would also let you get more units on the table and attack more with your monster. Now, for anybody that's a long-time player, stepping, the thing monsters can do, which lets them take 1 additional step anytime during their entire turn, that still costs action dice. But your standard move, I can move up to my speed, is free.
Sure. Pagani, what's one of the things you know is like we're definitely going to have in the game that's a big change that people like?
So actually, Oz just mentioned it, which is how stepping works.
Yep.
In original Monster Apocalypse, you could only step during the movement portion of your monster turn. Now you will be able to step during your movement or your action part. So you can actually attack and then step.
Or you can step a couple times, move, punch, and step away.
And it makes
Yes.
double monster
No.
games really good.
Why that's important is my favorite, which is that monsters can now freely move across units. It doesn't matter if you have flight or not. You can move through your own. You can move through enemy ones. You know, there's nothing stopping Gorgadra or Terracon from walking on top of or walking across G tanks. Now you can't stop on top of them, but they no longer completely impede your movement, which makes for a more fluid game. It makes the monster activations a lot more meaningful. One other thing I do want to mention real fast that's kind of an overall change of the game, which it's not going to change, is that previously in the original Monpok, it was very possible for just a ton of units to completely wipe out a monster. It was far more prevalent than you would expect. We have changed the math and played around with the values so that the main way a monster is going to die is in monster-on-monster combat. There are some units that their specific role in life is if you get like 3 or 4 of them on a monster, you might do a point of damage to an enemy monster for that turn. But the days of your units doing 3 to 4 damage a turn to enemy monsters is gone. The fighting will happen between, you know, the big boys.
Yeah, for any of you guys out there that are playing with old Monpok stuff, expect stats to get higher in certain categories.
Yes.
Mostly defense.
Mostly-
Monster defense is higher than it used to be.
A lot higher.
And so monsters hurt other monsters, and like Hungerford just said, a pile of units can take a point off a monster, which is valuable sometimes. But it's not going to happen a lot.
Something that was often yelled during playtest was Carnodon Party. And Carnodon Party is, Carnodons are a great example of, they're decent fighters on their own for running up and fighting enemy units and taking them off power nodes. But 4 Carnodons, especially if you have an elite Carnodon and 3 regular ones, on a ground-based monster, you're going to do a point of damage.
It's a pile of dice.
It's just a pile of
It's a
dice.
bunch of dice.
You're not going to do more than one, and you're going to need all 4 of them to really get in there. And if the monster's flying, they ain't nothing they can do to them. But a Carnodon Party,
It's a good time.
it'll bust you up. So before we endle Before we endle the struggle of wills, is there anything else you two want to mention about sort of the basics of Monpok? And we should lead with more is coming. We have a lot more stuff about Monpok we want to say in the future.
Absolutely. I mean, I want to talk about everything, so it's probably a bad idea to give me an open mic.
Noted. Oz, anything else from you? Nope. All right then. John, we're done here. Play the drums. Hi. See you in a little bit.
How's it going, JR?
I was looking at chat, seeing what's going on.
I'm hijacking Secret Time.
Oh, you're gonna hijack Secret Time? What's about to happen during Secret Time? Are you gonna show off one of the maps?
Nice.
New maps, by the way.
This is a proof of a Montauk map.
You need help with that?
No, I'm done. That was it.
Wow, Oz.
I didn't stop moving it either, so it's gonna be hard to get a screen cap.
No, someone's gonna get screen cap. No, I'm looking at you right now on the stream
man,
doing
it's
it.
gonna be so easy.
It's gonna be so screen capped just immediately. So, hey JR,
Hi.
let's test your mic out a little bit.
Testing. 1, 2. Sibilance. Sibilance. Susurrance?
Susurrus?
You're good to go.
Susurration?
Susurrus?
Sisyphus.
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 We're in Secret Time right now, which gets edited out.
Yeah,
so don't
so we
worry.
can do what? Well, we couldn't do whatever. 'Cause
Not
we got-
whatever.
No, we're still being live streamed.
Right, this is
Don't-
live.
Don't do like we normally did between segments on the
Right.
podcast.
I know.
So I'm actually probably not going to edit any of this out.
Oh, that's even worse.
There's kind of no point. It went out live on the air. There's no point in editing.
John, you've ruined the entire thing.
Supplement.
Supplements.
Yes, things are supplement.
Unique
John,
New
you've
York.
ruined the whole idea of Secret
Red
Time.
leather, yellow leather?
Red leather, yellow leather.
Oh no, I'll cut out the Secret Time stuff.
Well, this is Secret Time right
This
now.
is secret time right now.
No, we're live now.
Everything is secret.
No.
Yeah.
I'm secret.
I haven't done an intro for him yet.
Well, then intro him.
I'm going to. And then we have to cut out the rest of this because it's Secret Time. All right, and we're back with J.R. Godwin,
Hey, JR. How you doing?
Hi!
my soulmate and convention manager here at Privateer Press.
And roommate.
Soulmate, roommate.
Soulmate, roommate. It kind of goes hand in hand.
Yes, we do. We're here to talk to you about upcoming cons like we typically do.
We do?
Now, I assume you're here to talk to us mainly about Kingdom Con because that's coming up here in what, in a couple weeks?
I'm here to talk to all sorts of things.
Oh,
So
Lead-
many things.
Lead the way, man. What's the first one?
So the first one is Kingdom Con.
I nailed it.
So with Kingdom Con, we're actually going to be doing something a little bit different this year. So we're actually flying out a couple of days early, and on Tuesday before Kingdom Con, the 17th, we're actually going to be at Game Empire. So we're going to be doing some in-store appearances. So I will have Will Pagani, I will have Dallas Kemp, and I'll be there. And we'll be doing some paint jams. We'll be doing some scrambles, some games, just to kind of get out and get a chance to meet the people who actually live in and around that area. Because it can be kind of chaotic at the show to get up and get one-on-one time with us. But this way, we're there just to talk to people. So that'll be on Tuesday night at Game Empire. Wednesday night, we'll be headed to At Ease Games. At Ease Games is a game store / brewery.
nice.
Oh, that's going to end well.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna end.
gonna end well for
it
everybody
is the
involved.
best of endings. So we'll be there. We'll be providing prize support there as well, doing some paint jams, hanging out, and it's just a chance to hang out and talk to people who live in the area. You know, like I said, at the show it can be kind of crazy, especially if you don't come find us where we're at in the hot tub. That's the easiest way to find us.
Or at least
The
Pagani.
Kingdom Con hot tub is the one we ended up with 30 people in the hot tub.
How big is that hot
How
tub?
big is that hot tub?
Is it a swimming pool?
It's actually larger than you would think a hot tub should be, but it is definitely not large enough that we're supposed to have 30 people in there.
6 feet in diameter, and they just crammed him in like an old phone booth.
Just all smashed together, getting all
Yes,
fatty.
was no
it's like
water at
stuff in
the
a
end of
phone
it.
booth. No, there definitely was water. There definitely was water still in it.
Yeah.
It just it was a bonding experience for everyone.
Sure.
And you're
Especially by
talking
the
about
third day.
chemical bonds, not just emotional ones.
I was going to say covalent bonds.
Covalent bonds, yeah.
lot of bonding. Big bowl of dude soup.
All right, let's move on.
So moving on from the
I was
dude
actually
soup,
hungry before you showed up. I'm just not anymore.
I have that effect.
Yeah. What's on after that?
So at KingdomCon, we're actually going to be putting on some events. Gail actually runs the events at KingdomCon. She does a fantastic job.
Oh, Gail Martindale?
Yeah.
Gail is, so if you've never been into an event run by Gail, Gail is an amazing human being. She runs some of the best events. I think that if she got into a cage match with Travis Marg, I would probably put my money on Gail.
Absolutely. I can only imagine that Travis would sit down.
Yeah.
No, he would try to hug his way out.
He would try and hug his way out.
Yeah.
If you've never been to a Gale event, Gale events are great. So go to Kingdom Con and play in one.
And Gail's actually running a 5-person team tournament, a Masters, and a Champions.
Wow.
So we will have a bunch of different opportunities to get in and play. There will also be some some scrambles, just some additional things, and I believe that Pagani will be out there doing some CID live, so people will get a chance to try out some things. I know he and I were talking about taking out some of the Gen Zero casters that I'm pretty sure you guys probably were talking about earlier.
Yeah, we were. Is there anything else?
Just maybe.
Is there anything else coming out at Kingdom Con you're able to talk about, or is it a little too early for that?
So there's actually a number of things that I'll be talking about. So for Kingdom Con, so we'll be seeing our good friends at Broken Egg there. So they're actually going to have some new stuff in the works, and I will come back to them in a minute because there'll be something for Lock and Load as well. And Table War will be there. And real quick, because I just saw it, dude, this beanie is totally in an online store. It's Off-World Design. So they're one of our other licensed partners. They do the Fiora shirt, they do the Thagros shirt, and they do this beanie.
So
it's available right now.
So Saber was asking on Twitch, for those of you listening or watching this later, why is the beanie not on the online store? And the answer is, like you said, it is.
You can buy it right now.
So
It will show up at your house.
All right, Saber, I expect to see a selfie of you now on social media of you wearing the beanie. I'll give you 2 weeks. So,
yeah, that seems appropriate.
2 weeks.
So at Kingdom Con, so we've seen Axiara and Severa come out at shows. They will be rejoining us there. We've seen most of the Legion showing up. So we'll have Golab and Gorag and Amok and Animag and the Blighted Rotwings.
in those names, aren't there? I
don't know what you're talking about. That was super easy just to flow.
Will the Chosen be there?
The Chosen will not be there.
Okay, because I know a lot of people are going to probably ask if the Chosen would be there.
I was bummed. I definitely, trust me, if there's one person who's more bummed than anybody that they can't bring something to sell, it's me. So we will have most of the Legion there, and then we're actually going to have quite a few of the Man of War releases there as well.
Nice.
So we should have Sorsha 3, we should have Dragos Draganovic.
Yep. But Sorsha 3 will be at Kingdom Con?
Should be at Kingdom Con, yeah.
It should be. Not 100%, but should be.
Should be.
Okay.
I will know 100% on Friday of next week.
Cool.
And I believe that John is actually putting up the Off-World Design webpage right now. It's offworlddesigns.com. It's the Privateer Press logo beanie.
Okay. So you're going to have Dragos. Are you going to have Atanus?
I should have Atanus and his
super
banner.
menacing banner.
Oh, the banner keeper that looks like he's going to beat you to death with the flag, mostly because it's just what he happened to have in hand.
He has a Gladius. He's going to shank you and then beat you with the flag.
I'm pretty sure he just hits you with the flag because the Gladius isn't in his hand.
No, he uses the Gladius to cut a mounting hole in your chest and then plants the flag.
Fair enough.
He uses you like a Christmas tree stand.
Oh, and then he picks you up and uses you to beat other people with your body still attached to the bottom of the flag.
Attached to the bottom of the flag.
I like it.
I'm in full agreement with Hungerford's expression right now.
This is
that
gonna be a big
expression
one.
of just pure awe. Just absolutely happy and amazed.
Yeah.
I don't know that it was awe.
And or terror.
Will the Bombardier officer be there?
Bombardier officer should be as well.
All right.
So that'll be Kingdom Con. And so after Kingdom Con...
hold on.
Hold on. I'm holding on.
For Kingdom Con.
What am I holding on to?
Those of you, Kingdom Con is right around the corner. It's a couple weeks. If you're not going, after hearing all the cool stuff that's going there, get your ninjas ready. Because I'm sure there's a lot of people looking to get their Man of War stuff. So send them over to Kingdom Con and pick all this up. I didn't realize the Bombardier officers were going to be there.
I should have just about everything.
And Sorsha 3 is a good probability.
Everything
a strong
everything is a solid probability.
Also, there was a question in chat a little while ago about finding exclusives like the Rocket Girl Rider.
Rocket Girl Rider will definitely be there.
And
Rinny
for
will be
somebody
there.
who's overseas in, say, the Netherlands, during the show, we will be offering...
Rocket Girl Rider will be on our online store as well.
There you go.
So all of our convention exclusives will be available on our online store. I will also have the busts at Kingdom Con. Sorsha just came out. That bust looks great.
Mm-hmm. It does.
Cool. All right.
It'll be a lot of fun.
What's next?
So after that, May is a little bit quieter month for us. We do have Mr. Will Hungerford and Mr. John Swinkles going to the ACD Distributor Show. So if your retailer is in that area, I do recommend going. You'll get a chance to talk to these fine gentlemen, largely about Monster Apocalypse.
If you're looking for me when I'm not working at the show, I will not be in the hot tub. I will be at the Old Fashioned.
That is
It's
correct.
about 2 blocks down from the convention center. They have the best cheese curds I've ever had in my life.
And true to the name, the best old fashioned I've
I'm
ever had.
so furious at both of you.
So to maintain my new
Svelte
body
figure?
weight, my svelte figure, I'm going to have to work out, I imagine, probably like
Constantly.
every day instead of like
Not
3
just
days a
every
week.
day, constantly. Just
So-
never not.
Because I'm
What I
going to
wanna-
stuff my maw full of cheese curds until I pass out. I'm going to need you to carry me back to the room, John.
I am a lot stronger than I look, so that's a possibility.
Just drag me by the hair.
You're buying drinks in that case.
Sure.
All right.
Are you gonna
in
be
the
on the Elliptical
meantime,
cheese
one of the
curds
things I
one?
want to point out about Kingdom Con is if people are looking at their screen right now and at the Kingdom Con website, they'll notice there are 48 hours left to pre-register. If they want to make sure to get the best deal on going to Kingdom Con, they want to hit that up.
Yes.
And if you listen to this on the podcast later on, it's far too late. But it's never too late to go the old-fashioned in Madison, Wisconsin, and get 2 plates of the cheese curds and the tiger sauce is what you want to ask for.
Tiger sauce?
Dude, do shots of it. It's amazing.
They milk a tiger to make the base.
It's fantastic.
Tiger milk sauce.
But we'll also be there talking to retailers and distributors about Monster Apocalypse. And hey, retailers and distributors, if you want to come hang out and go to the old fashioned and eat these cheese curds, I'll be there for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day. I'm there for your show. So
There's a fair chance Andy Welton will be with us as
yeah,
well.
Andy! That would be. See, now I'm even madder. You get cheese curds, old fashions, and Andy.
yeah, it's a great time.
Andy might have cheese curds hidden in his beard for you throughout the
think
show.
he does.
He'll just walk
And if it's
by.
like 2 years ago, he'll spew beer all over.
Yeah, Andy Weldon spit beer all over me. It was an accident, but he still just spit beer all over me.
Please don't spit beer on the staff. I will say that's hilarious.
He was drinking a beer. I said something that made him laugh, and he couldn't hold it in, and it just happened instantaneously, and he just spewed beer all over me. But the thing is, it came out of nowhere. I was just sitting across the table from him talking, and then I was suddenly drenched in Andy beer. But I had cheese curds, and it was fine.
Fair enough. So after that is lock and load.
Yeah, man, go ahead.
And so one of the reasons I was saying we're going to kind of bounce around with this. So at Adepticon, and I promise this leads to lock and load. It all makes sense. Just give me a chance, man.
I will follow you to the gates of hell.
Just to the gates, though. What if I go through?
I'm staying on the other side.
That's fine.
I'm going to stay on the other side of the River Lethe.
Okay.
So Adepticon.
Adepticon, they do the Armies on Parade. It's this super cool event where throughout the day, people will go through and pick armies that they think look fabulous. People will often do display boards, these really cool, intricate boards, kind of to show off their army.
Yeah.
And these are some amazing things. And so we've done Armies on Parade the last 2 years at Adepticon, and we've seen some super cool stuff. But we think that we can kick it up a notch. So we're going to start bringing the Armies on Parade to Lock and Load.
Sweet.
Nice.
So you're going to see some staff boards at Lock and Load that we'll get a chance to try out. Some of our armies. I will be building one for my blighted Creel. So we'll see how creepy and gross I can make that.
I've never tried to build a board before, but now I might be inspired to do one for my blind water. I'm sure I could do a swamp board pretty easily.
Swamp board should be pretty easy. And so I'm currently talking with our good friends at Broken Egg to possibly see about getting us a couple of boards for staff to turn into these super cool display boards.
Oh, that'd be great.
So if I have people sign up on staff to do one of these, I'll be coordinating that. And then at Lock and Load, we'll be having these go. And then again next year at Adepticon, it'll be a chance for people to get back out and show off what armies they've got.
Cool.
We'll have some sweet prizes. Nothing I can announce just yet for the sweet prizes, but there will definitely be prizes for each for the top 3 and maybe an honorable mention here and there.
This is actually the first time kind of hearing about this, honestly. Like you mentioned something about that we might have like a new board display thing, but I didn't know the whole shebang.
Exactly.
As a big mini wargamer, and I've been doing it for years, the display. Well, it was big, it was small
As
now.
a
Like
mini
the
wargamer.
hobby part of it is very important to me. It's as important to me as it being a fun game. And the display, like I appreciate a good diorama, right? I appreciate just people spending the time to create these things that look awesome. And if you're going to use your models in the game, but you still also want to build a diorama with them, like the game board, like what you're talking about, is kind of how you do that. Because it's functional, you can bring it to the table, and it still looks awesome. And I've always really been in awe of these, because people go all out.
Oh, absolutely.
People do really insane stuff that I look at and I'm like, at first I was like, I could never do that. I'm becoming a lot more confident in my hobby abilities over the last couple of years, and now I kind of think I might try a really basic swampy one.
Well, and sometimes it's not necessarily about the execution; it's about the idea.
Yeah, the
you
concept.
might have this super cool idea, and it may not be executed to the highest of levels, but because the idea is so cool and so much fun, that board is going to rate much higher than, say, a board that it's cool. But doesn't knock our socks off. It was 2 years ago at Adepticon, somebody made a fully functioning margarita machine.
Yeah.
That was a Crix Necrotype Factory / margarita machine.
I can see how that would score some points with us.
So hey, any of you out there, if you have a display board for War Machine or Hordes or Company of Iron, and you've done this before, and we're talking like a flocked, modeled hobbied display board that you use. Put it on our social media. Hit us up on Twitter. Hit us up on Facebook. Use the hashtag display board. I mean, there's not really anything else you can do for that.
You dug deep for that
There's
one.
nothing else you can do with that.
How about
one.
IK display boards? So at least it's not just random display
Oh,
boards.
hit
As
us up
much
with-
as I'd love
wait,
to
wait.
see like
I got it.
6th grade
I
science
have it.
fairs.
Hit us up with the hashtag Warmaboard.
Warmaboard.
And then show us your display boards. Because I want to see what people have done out there. I remember Dallas had one for his Doom Reavers that was like, it had like barbed wire and like a snowy finish. And like, he took the bunker from the Butcher 3 Collector's Edition and built that on the back end. And like, the model sits up there and everything. It looks great. So, anything else, JR, you need to mention about conventions before we wrap it up here?
So the last little bit is with Lock and Load.
Yep.
More will be coming out about it, but we're actually working with Broken Egg. We're going to have some sweet new items that will be debuting at Lock and Load.
Are they usable in-game?
Yes.
Or they're usable in-game items?
Usable in-game
So
items.
they're known for their war sticks. They're known for the great tokens. They're known
Amazing
for
tokens,
the
display boards.
Display boards. This is nothing they
templates.
currently they make.
So this is a thing that they do not currently make.
Okay.
But will be something that they launch there. Now, I can't say exactly what it is. It may be a variant of something they do already make. It may be something brand new.
Sure.
We're hashing out the details.
But it's usable in-game.
It is usable in game.
So it's a flask.
No.
Okay.
No, and it's sadly also not the hot tub party board that we wanted them to make that would float in the hot tub so you could game while hot tubbing.
Okay.
Pagatti's dream is not yet realized.
Okay. So people will learn more about this thing as it gets
That
closer?
is, yep. As it gets closer, actually, I was texting with them this morning.
Nice. All right. Thanks, JR. Thanks for coming on. Tell us all this. You got a ton of good news today.
Yeah.
So I'll see you at home later?
Yes.
Dinner at 7? All
Yes.
right, John, play the drums. I'm hungry.
Dubba da dubba dubba da dubba da dubba dubba da dubba da dubba. Huh.
Oh, this secret time's not going to last very long
It's
because,
not.
well, we're done.
We are done.
We're gonna
So, my first time co-hosting, how'd I do?
You did great. Well, we got to do the final segment.
We do.
Okay, do the
but I
final
mean,
segment.
just like so far, if you have notes, now would be the time.
You've done great.
All right. I'll
Like-
take it.
Like you have this great enthusiasm. You seem really excited about talking to everybody, and like Schick has that, but sometimes it also switches to actual just rage. Like he's excited at it, but he's also the executive director, so he's our boss.
Yeah.
So sometimes we talk about something, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's really great," and then he just gets mad at us for some reason. It's like he's.
It's a subdued rage, though.
It's a subdued rage.
It's like a storm beneath the sea.
Well, it's not always subdued when he's talking. It depends on.
It's not subdued.
Okay.
Nor
Well, I
is
only
it a
see 'em from
slow
my
burn.
segments, right?
It's turkey rage.
Turkey rage.
Yeah.
What is turkey rage?
Listen to Primecast episode 47.
Okay. I'm gonna have to find out about turkey
47 or
rage.
48.
Is it wild turkey rage? Like you?
No,
Okay.
no. Nor is it old turkey rage.
Okay. All right.
All right,
So
and we're done, man.
we've finally wrapped up episode 52 of Primecast.
Yep, it's been a good one, and we were kind of talking about this in between takes, but like you've done a great job as co-host. Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much for coming on. This has been a
Thank
ton
you.
of fun.
Yeah, I wasn't sure when John tapped me for this, but I'm glad I was able to sit down and just hang out with you, talk about all this new stuff.
So we ended everything with JR talking about Lock and Load,
Yeah.
which tickets are available for right now at pplockandload.com, and I believe there's a couple hotel rooms left. That show is coming up fast. If you've never been to Lock and Load, it is our own con we put on. It's a celebration of everything Privateer Press does. Last year we released the Grimkin. The year before that was the release of Mark III. This year we'll see Crucible Guard. It's where some of the biggest and most awesome releases drop. Is there something coming up at Lock and Load that you can talk about that you're really excited about?
Well, I'm generally excited just to interact with the people who play the game and are so enthusiastic to come out and interact with us, right? I've got some interesting events for the RPG that I always look forward to. One of my favorites is the Full Metal Game Master event.
Where it's like the 4 different tables.
It's the 4 different tables where it's competitive game mastering. We've had the same guy win 2 years in a row, so I'm hoping to see some good contenders there. But
I think that's also like one of my top 3 events.
oh yeah, just because we get to make them do things.
Well, especially because I got to help run it.
Yeah. But if you're interested in watching people do embarrassing things while running games, swing by. We can always use players or just observers to help us judge at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Have we talked at all about narrative events going forward at Lock and Load?
There are events. You can sign up right now. The event sign up is currently live. And there's a couple questions in chat that I'm going to get to real fast because there's questions about Lock and Load. Matthew Bunting says, hey, Will, love Batman. The Iron Gauntlet qualified players, do they need a ticket? Oh, if you qualified for the Iron Gauntlet, you get a badge for free. So if they haven't received their badge, they should email us, JR, or email send you the customer service team. Go to frontdesk@privateerpress.com. Email them. Mention that you're qualified for the Iron Gauntlet. They'll get you in touch with the right people. Also, if you are part of the Iron Gauntlet, you don't have to sign up for that event. If we see that you have a badge and you're coming to the event, we will automatically sign you up for it. I've had a lot of the Iron Gauntlet players emailing me personally and sending me messages on Facebook and stuff asking if they can play in the Masters and the Champions, being that they are last chance qualifiers for the Iron Gauntlet of the show. The answer is yes. We've got players coming from all across the world. I was talking to Colin Hill and Aaron Whale from Australia, and they're like, can I play in the Masters? I'm already qualified. And I'm like, we're not going to ask you to come away from Australia to not play games. So even if you're qualified, you're welcome to play. Themech asked, will we be able to game all night at Lock and Load? I believe the hall closes at 1, but I'm not 100% sure. We'll make sure by the next Primecast we announce that. And Missing Task says, is there a secret way to get these hotel rooms? We say they're available, but the Hilton says no. Email us at frontdesk@privateerpress.com. That's our customer service team. If you have any questions about Lock and Load, send it to them. They'll disseminate those questions to the appropriate people that can get you the answers, and then we'll be able to let you know. So before we go, anything else we want to talk about? Anything else you want to mention? I see a lot of people keep asking me about the Tharn CID.
I see that too.
But we got to get exemplars first, y'all. Exemplars first, then Tharn. All I can tell you is that Chad Kaufman is going to love the Tharn CID. You're going to love it, buddy. Right. So thanks for watching or listening to Primecast episode 52.
However you choose to consume your media.
We'll see you next time, probably with Schick.
Probably.
Hopefully with me, and maybe with Getz.
Who knows?
Bye, everybody.
Have a good night.
Oh and one last thing, because John looked at me and started whispering the word schedule repeatedly. I'm going to remind those of you, this is probably not going to be in the Primecast. I imagine this gets edited out.
I hope so.
But for the rest of you watching, don't forget, join us every Tuesday for the Weekly Rumble at 10 a.m. Pacific. That's where the staff plays games. Every Wednesday, the Dev Hangout, where we the devs talk typically about CID. It's also at 10 a.m. Pacific. And every Thursday, again, 10 a.m. Pacific, Dallas, the best show we put on, Get Your Paint On. There's been some calls for another show called Lore Machine, but we'll see if we've got the time to do it. Maybe. I'm sure you and Doug would like that.
We'll find out.
We'll find out. John, I'm going to say goodbye to everybody now. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for being here. It was wonderful. Bye. I'm hungry.
And we're done. I am so